Okay, you're live.
Okay. Well, we're a couple minutes early. Hopefully, everybody shows up. 4 viewers. 11. 26. 7. 33. Hey, y'all. Hey. We're going to get started here in just a few minutes. And tonight we're going to do something a little bit different. We're not only going to do our live broadcast, but we're going to do some live television or some live phone interaction. We're going to try this out. I've never done this before. I hope it works correctly. I've got a Google number. I thought it might be kind of fun that everybody for the new year kind of had an opportunity. Maybe if we couldn't answer their questions directly, that they would be able to call in and, ask their questions to us specifically. Maybe they want to get something off their chest, or maybe they want to understand how something works. And I have that phone number here for them to try. And I'll post it in the chat in just a few minutes, or someone will post it for me. I'm sorry about not being prepared. I thought we were going to have this up earlier, but I will do it in just a few seconds. It's no big deal. It's kind of on the fly type thing. So we're going to get started right now with the news. So would you like to introduce yourself?
I am April Beebe.
And you guys can go ahead. I'm going to give you 2 seconds to turn down your microphones. I've decided in 2019, I'm going to do it like I brought it in 2018. That's what got us for the dance. That's what we're going to do. And so turn down your microphones. I'm going to give you a moment to turn them down. 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000, 4, 1,000. All you new viewers out there, turn your mics down. I am Mr. Brando. And welcome to the reinstatement of the Iraqi Dinar IQD chat and some world news. We're going to get into some geopolitics tonight. We're going to get into some real hard facts about Iraq tonight. So I hope you have time. I hope you stay tuned, because after we run through it for the first half hour, we're going to go through a series of phone calls, and we're also going to go through a series of live chats. First thing on our list today is ISIS arms cache was unearthed in Mosul. So Mosul has always been a hot spot for ISIS. ISIS has always seemed to have a foothold in Mosul for whatever reason. I think it's probably geopolitical, just because it is here. And I also believe that Mosul is not completely unscathed of ISIS. And they found a bunker full of all kinds of goodies: 12 homemade bombs, 11 missiles, 2 mortar bombs seized from the place. So they went through and swept it, and they were allowed to remove them without harm, and nobody got injured. Now, supposedly, the former prime minister, Abadi, declared victory over ISIS in Mosul. But of course, you're always going to have pockets of these terrorists everywhere that are going to try to upheave or do some damage to what the sovereignty and the good that Iraq has put forward. Now, remember, everything's about timing in Iraq. And so that we saw last week where the new PM, Mr. Mahdi, is going out, and he's retrieving old facilities or places where these guys lived. And what he's doing in these places is that he's retrieving them, and he's getting them back on the books for the Iraqi government, because they need to sell those properties. They need to get rid of them. They need to do something with them so that they can turn a profit somehow. These are big, huge, spacious buildings, and they're empty because these government officials are either not there, or they're not using them correctly, or that they're being guarded for no reason, and he needs to get them out of there. And plus, with him opening up the green zone, that leaves access to the citizens. So what happens if someone decides to knock on Mr. Maliki's house? Hey, Mr. Maliki, he's a suicide bomber, runs in hell, blows him up, right? So they need to get these old former ministers and politicians out of the green zone that are in occupied buildings that should not be occupied. I think the best thing ever would be if someone got Maliki out of there. In a statement, they said from Baghdad, the parliament is going to return the palaces and the luxury houses in the green zone to the state, where the subject will be raised during the next sessions of parliament. Now, the former government officials are still living in these palaces, i.e. Maliki, I'm just throwing that in there, which is a big mistake and supposed to be handed over to the state after the end of the term of government. Maliki's term has been over now for 2 terms. He's occupying it in probably because of arrogance, because he feels like no one can remove him. But I believe Mahdi is going to stand up and have his butt removed. Now, you are going to see all these conflicting arguments about the budget. Supposedly the budget's fine. Supposedly it's not fine. I say this about the budget. It really doesn't make a hoot about the budget until they open it. So you can say whatever you want to about the budget, but until they actually open up the budget is really non-facto to me. So they're going to read it again. It's been read. The Parliamentary Finance Committee expects to approve the budget of 2019. They said we fully expect to approve the budget to the end of January. Now, is that a big deal to you as a common investor? No. The budget has very little to do with the investment itself as a IQD holder. Now, if you're involved in like oil or something like that, of course, pay attention to the budget, because there's more than one way to make money off of Iraq. As you guys have seen, there's money to make off their stock exchange. There's money to make off their commodity exchange. There's money to make off their currency. There's money to make off of their ability to have infrastructure and rebuilding process. There's tons of different ways to make money in Iraq, and I think that it's kind of very vain on my part to think that everybody's involved in IQD. Not everybody's involved in that. People are involved in different ways. Now, lawmakers in Iran are really starting to feel the pinch. Recently, they came out with an article that said the chairman of the Iranian parliament, the National Security and Foreign Policy Commission, that Iran's economic strategies in Iraq and Syria are failing. That's because they don't have any money to substantiate what they're doing. So you can't keep people in place and pay them and spy on people if you can't really keep them in place. You don't have the money to put it into practice. It says Iran's place is empty in Baghdad's bazaars and in the cities in Najaf and Kabbalah. There is an unfair competition that is practically pushing out Iranian companies. Now, from a pure trade standpoint, you've got to be dancing in your seat right now. You've got to basically be saying, this is awesome. This is the most awesome thing that I've ever heard. I never thought that I would hear the words pushing Iran out. I hear all the time about people complaining about Iran, complaining about their influence. But if they don't have any room for their goods in marketplace, then there will be no money for them for their trade. Remember, their trade is about $12 billion. So pushing them out straight, it hurts them. It keeps the embargo or the tariff in place. And that is awesome news for us. It said, should Tehran lose its place in other contenders, whatever we have sacrificed in the political and military arenas are virtually lost. Now, I'm going to come back to that in a few minutes and show you a little bit different spin on that. But think about it. If somebody's saying that there's a great loss, it's not Tehran, okay? Tehran doesn't own any publications there. It is some political analyst in Iraq and Iran saying that Iran's stronghold is not the same as it once was. Here is another update about the whole Trump-Mahdi meeting. Now, supposedly President Trump asked Mahdi to meet with him for 10 minutes. That was absolutely unsuitable for Mr. Mahdi. He said that he needed more time to talk about things that are of value to both of them, and 10 minutes would not do it. That's why Trump invented the tent to receive both political factions, but we all know that that didn't work out as well and that he didn't show up. Now, is that a snub to either party? I don't think so. What do you think on that? I don't think it's a snub. I think it's more of a, I'm in and out. And like, it's kind of like going to visit somebody for like Christmas or a holiday. I'm in and I'm out. I may not stay all day to eat and everything, but I'm just in and I'm out. You know what I mean? I don't fault Trump and I don't praise him and I don't fault Mahdi. I don't praise him. I'm just saying that for the timing of it all, it just wasn't in the cards. But it is now a actual fact that Mahdi did know that Trump was going, right? There are bases there. So we know that. So Mahdi's not all the way honest either, right? Probably because of security or probably because of some other word, but we know there's a lot more to it than that, okay? Some people speculated this week that Mahdi was in Washington, D.C. I would totally disagree with that statement. I don't believe he was there. I don't have any proof of it. I have no speculatory proof of it. So I can't even present to you guys like that. But there was people out there that really believed he was in Washington, D.C. when the last report I gave you said that he was in security meetings about the Security Council about files of corruption. So you guys are grown, make your own decisions. I don't think he was there. I would probably argue that until the hills come home that he was not there. At the same time, preventing Iraqis. Okay, so Hakeem is saying, and Hakeem being one of the very big political players there, Mahdi refused to meet Trump. Whatever. I mean, yeah, he refused. Things happen. Now, okay, so here's a big thing that I thought that was interesting for us and to you. Today, I pulled this out at about 2:01 p.m. CST that Brent crude reaches $53.05 a barrel. Now, you'll say, Brandon's always talking about oil prices. Mr. Brando always talking about oil prices. Mr. Brando, Mrs. Beebe always like to talk about oil prices. Well, the reason is because if your budget's at $56 a barrel, which we know if they are, how are you ever going to make budget at $53.05? So again, a revaluation would have to take place or some type of intervention would say, right? Intervention would be the word that would allow Iraq back to where they'll be at a surplus for the budget, not a deficit. Anything to add?
Gas is constantly dropping. I'm waiting for $1.59.
You said you thought tomorrow when you went into work, gas could possibly $1.59.
Yeah, because it's $1.61 right now.
Now, I'm going to get into it in a little bit about why the oil drop has not hurt the American marketplace. Okay, I'm going to dive into that also. In times past, when gases dropped this low, it was a terrible, terrible time for places like Houston and Louisiana and all these port cities that use gas as a staple, Mississippi. It really hurt our economies. And I'll tell you guys a little bit about that in a little bit. It's because of the American marketplace and because of what this regime has done. They've done pretty much what the Reagan administration did in the 80s and open up American markets to different political factions to allow them to subsidize their costs. So basically what they're trying to do is break OPEC. Breaking OPEC would level the playing field as far as energy goes, and trends show that they will just drop. So you guys want to see $1 gas, you may never see that again, but you possibly could see $1.50, $1.25. And it'd be a stimulus because we know that in our country, that if gas is super low, our economy is super duper high. We control 24% of the world's GDP. And that's why when I get questions about, hey, the dollar's going to collapse and this and that, the gold standard, and I'll get into the gold standard. The gold standard is complete bullshit. You don't want to be on the gold standard. You don't want to be on the silver. And I'll stand by that. And I'll open up my phone lines for you to call. The gold and silver standard are bullshit. And we don't want to be on them. And I'll explain that to you in a few minutes. But we do want our energy to be on a level playing field. And that's why the Saudis came out and said this week, they had no problem. They weren't bitching at all about oil prices where they are right now because President Trump opened up the American markets and allowed them to slip in to subsidize their costs. Now, what did Trump also do to Iraq? Notice how I bring it all together. I'm gonna tease you with something. I'm gonna bring it all back together and tie it all in a big bow. Trump went back to Iraq recently and told Kirkuk, hey, Kirkuk, don't worry about oil. Don't worry about gas. I know the price is down. What am I going to do for you? I'm going to buy 17% of your oil to subsidize your costs. It was no secret. I'm not saying the man is smart. I'm not saying the man is dumb. But from a political strategic point of view, it's genius. He's bankrupting OPEC, which hurts Iran because all they can trade with is who? China. China is a POS. We want to hurt China. And guess what China's doing? China's saying, hey, look, and so is North Korea. Maybe we ought to revisit with Mr. Trump and renegotiate some trade lines. Why? Because we control 24% of the GDP of the world. What's that?
I have no idea.
We're not going to answer that right now. I haven't opened up the phone lines for anything, so no one should have that number. Now, by opening up those trade lines, what does it do? It hurts Iran. It hurts China. We know Russia's broke. So what are we doing? We're propelling Iraq to create new trade organizations, thus Jordan, Syria, is Israel, and other players that they can ship their natural gas and oils to, as well as build their own infrastructure. It's a huge time and place for us. Now, if you guys notice, they can't see the thumbnail, but in the thumbnail, half of it is from the Kuwaiti conference.
Actually, they can. It's in your community tab. That's what I posted.
I have a community tab.
It's been there. That's why you sent me the thumbnail, right?
Of course, I knew there was a community tab. You can see the thumbnail. I can see the thumbnail. We all know there's a thumbnail. If you notice about the Kuwait conference, no, I didn't know there was a thumbnail. I'm sorry. I'm an idiot, y'all, when it comes to technology. That's why I leave it all up to Ms. BB. I do not have a clue about that type of stuff, okay? But I want you guys to notice that they're bringing up again. Oh, it's a good-looking thumbnail. Members showed charter that they said the current and previous governments did not create a reconstruction fund and didn't put any plan yet while donor countries claim it. Meaning they did not create a fund for the donor countries to go out there and tap into it. So they don't have a plan in action to utilize that funds. What I tell you guys, until they have a Minister of Defense or a Minister of Interior, they're not going to touch that donor money. I have to find who this is. This is driving me nutty. Hello? Sam? No. Anyway, the idea is with that donor conference money, there goes the whole reconstruction for Iraq. Kuwait International Conference on Iraq's Reconstruction. It was hosted the 12th to 14th of February. The international regional organizations, 51 development funds. We also know that 50 additional USA companies came in and said they want to participate, but no one will allow them $1 of exchange until they become international. Awesome news there. Now, the Hossar Abdullah calls for the opening of the green zone. Why are these key points important? The opening up the green zone exposes the corrupt ministers like Amiri and Malikli to access by the actual common citizens of Iraq. One thing that they've held a pride in is that they've been isolated from the citizens, and because they're isolated, they have no fear. But since the green zone is opening up, you haven't heard Maliki barking real loud. He's afraid that someone's going to knock on his door and be like, hey, punk, you owe us a huge debt because of all the people and monies that you sacrificed for this country, and we're going to come after your ass. Now, that hasn't happened yet, but I'm saying that that's why Mahandi is kind of smart. Well, no, he's actually a very, very smart man. But I'm saying that his political strategy is kind of smart on my part because he's doing it through like the sneak deal. He's letting them go in, open up the green zone. I'm just retrieving back government properties for our own good, right? I'm not doing anything bad. We need this money to survive. So in this, it's going to force people like Maliki and Amiri, those politicians that have lived in the green zone and lived off the fat of land for so long, an opportunity to get out while they still can. These are real estates inside the green zone, including huge houses that have been exploited by former officials and former politicians free of charge, some of which have been taken over by parties as early as 2005. What does that tell you? Whose regime is that? Everything we talk about in here brings you all the way back. So they're telling you they're basically going to get rid of these people. There has been a large portion of corruption in this case from the very beginning. Former officials have legitimized the acquisition of these properties 5 to 10 to 15 years ago for their terms of offices. And therefore, a major step must be taken to legislation and effective authorities to recover these properties and invest them to generate goods and revenues for the people of Iraq. For the people of Iraq. Notice where I'm going with this. It all goes back to the people of Iraq, okay? Huge, huge news in opening up the green zone and retrieving those own properties. All these so-called smart gurus out there are going to tell you that, well, he kicked the body out and there's bad blood between the two of them. And it may very well be. But he obviously felt so secure in what he did was to put him out and to do his thing, right? So a body of him must have some type of agreement or some type of understand type deal that he was the easiest one to pick on first. So I salute Mahandi on that one. And if I had my sound effects, I'd hit the button on him. Iraq, Jordan to ease trade. I told you last week Jordan was huge in the trade agreement with Iraq. I told you that a week ago. They went in there like balls of fire and wanted to do like some major things and say that they were going to be opened for projects as early as this Friday. So it's no big surprise to me that the Prime Minister and Jordan's Prime Minister have agreed on a series of measures to increase cooperation between the two countries. Huge news. Huge, huge, huge. They outlined a statement. Said opening the Jordanian-Iraqi border in front door traffic to start journey on the goods on 2/2/19. So they're going to start trading with Jordan. Now they hadn't done this, y'all. So they're taking away from Iran and opening up to Jordan. Look at the way this flow goes. We're going to take away from this entity and give to this entity because we are trying to distance ourselves from Iran. Now, make an agreement between the Royal Jordanian and the Iraqi aviation now for a mutual cooperation in various fields. They're going to share training cooperation in all areas of aviation, meaning flights from Jordan to Iraq. There's already flights from Jordan to Baghdad, or from Baghdad to Tehran, but we need for some more flights to open up from Baghdad to Jordan. Okay, that would be huge. The agreement was reached by Jordanian Iraqi. There's also an agreement for the Jordanian Iraqi Electricity Fund. They're going to link networks, interconnect them. Why? Because they're trying to get off the Iranian tit, so to speak. If they get off the Iranian tit, then they open themselves up for the opportunity to have a better electrical grid. Okay. Now, this was a pretty damaging article that I had gotten earlier about the dinar. I'm not going to read it. I mean, it was okay. To me, it was kind of suspect. I don't really trust some of these sources. I'm going to read to you guys anyway because I'm a little ahead of schedule. It said in a dangerous statement that MP Mata Alusi said today that Iraqi budget goes from a large fund to finance the Iranian Revolution and Guards. What he's basically saying is that the United States and the European Union have information that the Iraqis have funded Iranian Revolutionary Guards and the Hezbollah in Lebanon. I mean, we kind of know that, but I think what are they doing to deter that? And if you look out there, there's tons of news about them going out and stopping these militias, stopping these terroristic cells out there. And so it's pretty much a big deal for them to put a foothold and stomp into that ass. And I don't think that's, I mean, it's news and it's viable. But do I think it's like earth shattering? Like, oh my gosh. No, I don't. I think that, you know, Iraq's got to do what they got to do and they've got to be transparent. So I'm going to get off this. I told you about a body vacating now a body made an official statement. I thought this was the reason why I said this, because a body was surprised by what happened, by the treatment he had received from the PM, okay? But Mahandi had called him and told him, I'm going to retrieve your property.
So he had a heads up. He
had a heads up, okay? So Mahandi's not acting just recklessly. He's reaching out and saying, look, I got to do this. Now, he was unaware of the raid, so to speak, but he knew it was coming, okay? Now, Abadi declared that he commented that it was correct in the framework of what he did, and it was his full power to do so, okay? Abadi had hoped to get a second term in office, but of course, we know that was thwarted by the Supreme Cleric, you know, Sadr, and we know that, I don't want to say the Supreme Cleric, but a major cleric in Iraq. And that was a big deal because we needed secretarian removed. And Abadi obviously was a secretarian type of politician, I guess. Okay, so I right now want to do something totally different. Can I do it?
It's totally up to you.
I want to do this. Can you type it in the thing? I'm going to open up the phone lines and you are going to be able to call in, or you're going to be able to type in a question and I will answer the phone live on chat and we will try to do our best. If you don't want your name revealed, we won't reveal it, but I'm going to go ahead and open up the phone line. The phone number to call is 903-392-9968. Now, I'm doing this for a short period of time until what is available called Super Chat. When Super Chat becomes available, we will dismantle the phone lines and it will go on the order in which that Super Chat allows us. We're waiting for Super Chat to be able to take place. But since it's not, that phone number again is 903-392-9968. So let's go ahead with the questions right now.
So Sylvia wants to know what's up with your hair.
My hair? My hair is freaking awesome. Oh my God. You guys think that I just have a bad haircut. No, I have long hair like a hippie. I have dreadlocks. I'm sorry.
Ed said, don't forget the sound effects.
Oh, I want to do sound effects, but I'm not. Oh, I have sound effects on this. All right. Sound effects. You guys want sound effects? We got them.
You got a call coming in.
No, I don't.
Oh, or there's something coming in right there. It's the voice. Chat.
What do you think the 3 zeros will drop? I think the 3 zeros will drop as soon as you get a seated GOI and you get a seated Minister of Defense and a Minister of Interior. That's when I see that happening.
Eric said Maliki time is coming.
It is coming, and you can see it coming. It's obvious in what's happening. His horses come in.
Mike Jones says next Parliament will witness the completion of the cabinet
On the 8th. Everybody knows that. And I think that's a huge deal because that's going to slap a few of these politicians in the face that are corrupt and put a few more of our politicians in place that we need to that are technocrats. And I hope that our good Minister of Education comes back because that's a big deal.
Let's see. Mike Norman says, will Zims go in the first basket?
No, they're not ready. Mike, they're not ready. They are far from ready. They may be second. You may be 2 years away from seeing Zim do anything. That's an ugly answer, but until they can get their shit together, I don't see them doing anything in the first couple of years. Dom, I see going big places.
And then Mike's second question was, what's the rate of Zim?
Shh, don't make me lie to you, Mike. I don't know. I don't want to lie. You know what? I mean, is the rate of Zim minus 6 zeros and 10 cents? I don't know.
And then Zemis says, what is the back screen, front screen? That the back screen is $5.60 rate for the dinar. Any truth?
No, because there's no such thing as a back screen. There's no such thing as a back screen and a front screen. There's only a screen. So if you're going to have a screen that shows a rate, then the rate's going to be international and that screen will be everywhere. It's a shout out from David Steffen in Alabama. Shout out to David in Alabama. But there are no back screens, forward screens, side screens. There are no screens. There are no 800 numbers. I'm going to say this 1 million times. There are no screens. There are no 800 numbers. I'm going to slap them screens. And I'm going to shoot them 800 and call centers down. There are none. I love those sound effects. She hates them. I love them. I live for them.
How do you say this? Ali Tamimi?
Oh, Tamimi? Uh-huh.
Is an MP for the Finance Committee. She exposed the auction corruption years ago, and it said that the reason why RI has been delayed thus far. What's your take on this? Because
did you guys see that article? And I know I didn't bring it up. I forgot. There was a huge article that the CBI is under investigation for the auctions and the money that was lost in something else. But they're going under a major exploration process into deciding if the auctions are necessary or not. And that's why that article I brought up last podcast about the brokerage firm having the ability to exchange dinar for other currency had some merit. Now, I had gotten basically a video about the opportunity for exchange through oil credits, but I think it goes deeper than that. And that's why that brokerage firm is going to be a bigger deal. And that's huge. These sound effects suck. I want better ones.
Oh, gosh.
What are my effects? Keep going.
So,
I missed a call from 704. That was them. Okay. Well, let's call them back. Can I call them back?
I don't think you can call from your device. You have to call from a phone.
Oh, okay. Well, call in. The number is 903-392-9968. Call out if you have a question. The phone lines are open. We've never done this before. First time ever I've ever been on an Iraqi or some type of call like this. It's completely free. If you feel comfortable, give me a call. 903-392-9968. You have approximately another 30 minutes to do so, and I'm going to turn the line off.
Eric says, I heard on Fox that this AM that the gas will be much lower.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Eric, I heard the same thing, brother. I heard the exact same thing. Trump is going to drive the energy prices into the crapper. He's going to corrupt. He's going to totally take down OPEC, which should have been totally taken down before, which is awesome news on our part because taking down OPEC is going to allow energy to be at a playing field that the average human can be at, and it's going to make our economy soar.
Truth and Faith says, I'm focused on Asia instead of Mideast. A deal is being made with China and USA any day. I would focus on Indonesia, Vietnam, and Korean won.
We have a number from 508-857. This is from Massachusetts. Let's see what it is.
To accept, press 1. To send a voicemail, press.
Hello, you are live on Mr. Brando with the IQD Reinstatement chat. Who am I speaking with?
Neil.
Hey, Neil. How you doing tonight?
Fine, Mr. Brando.
Good to meet you.
Sorry, what is that?
I said good to meet you, my friend. What's going on?
Oh, same on this side. I've been looking at your podcast, you and your wife, or Mr. BB.
Uh-huh.
Fine.
Well, what's your question, my friend? Go ahead and shoot.
The question is this.
Uh-huh.
I saw. Okay. I saw on one of these YouTube videos
Turn
an
down the
Iraqi
TV.
kid displaying
Please
a
read
$1
it.
dinar note.
Uh-huh. Hey, can you turn down your video? We're getting a lot of feedback on your end. Can you turn down your receiver on your phone, or is that possible?
It's the video.
It's the video, I think. You're live. You're actually live right now, so that's why you're getting a lot of feedback.
Okay. So I'll just pick up from where I left off.
Okay, yes, sir. I'm sorry to interrupt
I
you.
was looking at this YouTube
Uh-huh.
I was looking at this YouTube video and I saw this Iraqi kid displaying this one Iraqi note. One Iraqi dinar note.
Yes, sir.
And he was flipping it back and forth and showing us this. And I thought, man, that is like the greatest news I can receive right now, because a one Iraqi dinar is worthless. And the fact that they have printed a one Iraqi dinar, it means that there are lots of things taking place behind the curtain.
Correct. Could you please provide us with that? Could you put that in the chat? Could you show that video in the chat for us? That would be huge news if you could.
This is what I was just about to tell you.
Okay.
I went back like 5 minutes later
Uh-huh.
to do some photoshops on it, and it was nowhere to be found.
Man, that would have been huge news. Boy, that'd have been awesome.
Oh my goodness. And none of the gurus apparently are aware of it because they did it so quickly.
Well,
Because as I said, I look at it 5 minutes later, took up my phone to go and do some shots, and that was it. It couldn't be found.
well, brother, you keep the faith. You keep the.
I'm surprised I'm not hearing anybody saying anything, with respect to that.
Well, with due respect, brother, you know why? Because they're not on top of it like you were. I mean, seriously, I didn't even see it. I'm not a guru or even self-proclaimed, but I'm not a guru. I didn't see it. So, I mean, kudos to you. And if next time you just can think just to like save it or copy it and paste it, put it like in a note section or put it in your chat somewhere, do that, because that would be huge. But I've got to take the next call. And if you find that, would you please answer it for me?
Definitely.
Brother, you keep the faith and keep on watching our videos and like, subscribe, and hit the bell, okay?
Definitely. You have a good day now.
You too, man. Happy New Year. Thanks for being our first caller ever. Thank you. Bye-bye. All right, lines are open. I'm going to call back this Conroe number. I hope it's not one of my actual customers. I'm going to try it. Let's just see what happens.
Please leave your message for. Hello. You have reached the gal you're looking for.
Oh, there they are right there. Hold on. Hello?
Call from. Babe.
Hey, babe. What's going on?
Hung up. Press 2 to call. Babe. I'm sorry. I didn't catch that. Press 2 to call. Babe. Calling. Babe.
Y'all, this is totally new for me, so I've never done this. So, babe, if you're calling, call me back. I'm going to hang up, okay? Babe, call me back. We're doing something totally different, y'all. Give me a little applause for doing something totally different on the air. No one has ever opened up their chat lines to live audience interaction ever. I know it's completely awkward. I know it's new, but you know what? For 2019, we're going to keep trying. Babe, call me back. There you are.
Call from. Hey, this is Babe. To accept, press 1. To send a voicemail, press 2.
Hey, babe.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, babe. How you doing?
I'm good, Mr. Brando. How you doing? This April?
Hey there, how are you?
I was going to ask one quick question, if you don't mind.
Not at all. Please ask.
What is the difference between in-country and out-of-country rates?
Okay. So think of it like this, babe. You know when you're in America and a dollar is a dollar?
Right.
When you go, like, let's say to Mexico and a dollar is like 7 pesos. You know what I'm saying?
I do.
That's the difference between in country and out of country. Typically, your out of country rate's going to be a little higher or a lot higher than your in country rate because a dollar is a dollar.
Thank you.
Anytime, babe. You call back anytime you want. Thank you for being our second caller of 2019. God bless you.
God bless you too. Bye-bye.
I'm going to hit you with the audience. Good job, babe. This has never been done, y'all. I'm having a ball doing this. I hope you guys are too. You can call, you can text, do whatever you want. This is a lot of fun. If you want to call. That number is 903. That is
392-9968.
Call in if you want to, or we'll go ahead and take some regular calls. You got anything else?
Let's see. Anthony says too many military bases around. They go on alert. Truth and Faith says Asia all the way, Indo, Dong, and Won. These currencies are already being exchanged daily. It makes sense to RV first.
Well, okay, can I put it like this? To reinstate their currency, it's reinstated, or to raise the value of their currency is a major deal. Now, I wanted to talk a little bit about the gold standard and the silver standard, but I don't know if I'll have time. If you guys want to talk about those things, let me know. I have a whole theory about it that I think you guys might be interested in. You maybe not. But I agree with you that if you're not under any sanctions and you're not under any type of weird reinstatement rules, why not reinstate, right? Why not go first? And I mean, I can't say that they're waiting for Iraq, but Iraq's doing something that no one else has done. So maybe they're just trying to make sure that if they do put these phases or these metrics into place, that the reception, not only from their people, but from their central banks will be accepted the same way. Does that make sense? Okay.
Pan wants to know, will the IQD revalue or reinstate first quarter?
That was an accident, but that was a huge question, Pan. I want to say yes. In all my heart of hearts, I want to say yes, I do. But I don't know that to be true. They've got to do some things for that to happen. Now, you might have looked at some of your other favorite gurus out there that have all these time frames. I'm not going to come to you like that. I'm going to come to you like this. They got to have their Minister of Interior. They've got to have a Minister of Defense. And when they touch that donor money, whatever quarter, first, second, third, then you will see, then, in my opinion, only then, we have the opportunity to see them reinstate their currency.
Okay. John Dowling, what is the president doing to squeeze Iraq to the Middle East, to the middle? Either by forcing them, the RV, their zeros, or flooding the market with oil by getting off OPEC, therefore triggering RV.
John, that's genius. John, that was genius. You're exactly right. They're doing one of three things. They're forcing their hand through oil because we know they can't operate below $56 a barrel, which they've operated for years in the past. Number two, they've cut off their trade partners. So now you're a big partner after Iran who's safe. Now you can't go with them. You've got to go to other people. And number three, if you don't pay your people and reconstruct your company, you won't put the youth to work. So it's a squeeze play. It's huge. And thank you for your email earlier. I really enjoyed it, and keep sending them to me, John. I love you.
He also says you're right. Well, he tells someone else in the audience that they're right about something. He said tomorrow the White House is to announce trade deals with China, thereby taking the sanctions off the Middle East and Asia, specifically the currencies, as a dirty flow.
Okay. So look at this out now. So look at this right here. So a dirty flow, I disagree with, but I agree with them coming out with a new trade agreement. So goes China. So goes Vietnam. So goes. I was just reading about them. Somebody major. It was Indonesia, maybe. It was somebody major Asiatic country that, yeah, because what China does is they claim the whole Pacific Rim. Oh, there's Johnny right there. Johnny. There he is.
To accept, press 1. To send a voicemail.
John?
Yes.
Johnny, there you are. John, everybody say hi to John.
Hey, Dee, Brando, how you guys?
Hey, Johnny, what's going on, man?
Hey, well, thanks for doing this. First of all, Happy New Year to you both.
Happy New Year.
Thank you. So we've talked obviously offline, so I'll keep my question really succinct, which is, so I'm in a private placement, so I have an idea of, rough timeline based on the people I'm with when it's going down. But the question has always been, when do you ascertain that the public placement will go after the private placement? Do you think it'll be a week, a month? Do you have an idea?
John, I think it's going to be within a month. I mean, that's my personal opinion. And, you and I have talked a little bit offline. So, we kind of vibe to a different drummer than most of these guys out here because they don't know that we know each other personally. But, I believe a month. When are you thinking, because you're in the know about certain things, when are you thinking things are going to change?
Well, you and I have always been kind of, including the Stevie, we've always been in sync in our thinking in terms of the dong and the rupiah going and then so forth, the Australian dollar, the succession of currencies after. My personal belief has always been about a month for the simple fact that they've got to, just like any business, they let the private customers go in and they let the public go in. They've got to clear space to do that. So you would think reasonably a month would be enough time to clear it up. But I would say 3 weeks to a month would be my guess.
I would agree with you on that. I've always believed the same thing you've believed on that one. 3 weeks to a month, I mean, is ample time for them to have the right, stability environment that we talked about, and also to have the ministers placed into placement and stuff like that. And I'm with you 100% on that one, man.
Thank you. And one other thing I want to offer to the followers on this page, it's really important why I say that is if they have one note or whether it's dinar, dong, it's immaterial. They have to consider a couple things. One thing we've always known is the media is going to, if they advertise it at all, they're going to do a gap between when the private and the public goes, because the banks don't want the PR if something goes wrong. There's bad guys out there who are going to try to maybe steal a note or two and go in and cash it in under duress or, gunfire or something. And so, people are at risk that if they go brag and, I got this currency, and they go in and somebody steals it, now they have nothing. And then now the banks have to clean up that PR. They're already hemorrhaging from the bad mortgage PR they've had in years past, like Wells Fargo. So I would think that those gaps would help kind of throw off the scent of the dog, so to speak, as to when it would happen.
Well, Johnny, it's always a pleasure, brother. And I will talk to you later on, if not tonight, tomorrow. And thank you. And, you can call me in, and if you set up your Google Hangout one day, we'll do a double interview, okay?
That sounds good. I'll work on that.
All right, brother. You are the man. I love you, and we'll talk later.
All right, God bless, guys.
God bless.
God bless.
Johnny's the man. Johnny's the man. Keep them coming, guys. We're open for another 21 minutes or so.
The web mogul said Maliki must have spam on the phone calls.
I wish one of those guys would call from overseas, and say, hey, I don't believe in what you're talking about. Or I mean, you know what? I know that my mods are out there taking care of all the trolls, and so is Miss BB. But you know what? It's kind of funny that when people want to talk about currency or talking about gold standard and that stuff, they don't want to talk about when they want to talk about it.
Okay, the Destiny Hat says, hi, Mr. Brando, Miss BB. Question, I'm unclear about how the basket works. When the dinar goes, will the dong go at the same time, or does it happen sometime thereafter?
Remember, an RI is a succession of events that lead up to a trigger. So just because one goes doesn't mean they all go. It just means that one went. Now, when that other company or that other country, think of it as a stock, when that other company or country goes, then when they meet those requirements, they can go, okay? Only then. So they all won't go at the same time. It won't be like, poof, all these countries are rich. That will never happen. One thing that we always talk about that we never really stress is that thing called the elites. I don't believe in the elites, but I believe in the central banks. And the central banks don't like each other, right? So they're not going. One central bank's not allowed another central bank to outdo them if their currencies be able to compete on a forex level. That's why the Forex on a float only is kind of viable, right? Floating means that currency was never meant to be floated. Currency was supposed to be a medium for exchange for goods and services, right? So if I went to a store and I bought a water, I gave them $1, they gave me my water, right? Mm-hmm. But because of the float, because we're off the gold standard, currencies can float up or down. Now, the IMF, which is a U.S. government institution, doesn't control the float, but it was for those people that didn't believe in the whole getting off the gold standard or believing in the dollar. They got them in the IMF, so there became this SDR, a special drawing rights. So that's where you're going to have these things. They're not pegged to it, but they all kind of float with each other. Part of that's at 2% compliance, up or down. So the way they get around that is people like China devalue their currency. They say, well, we're compliant. We're just going to devalue our currency. It was worth 60 cents. We're going to make it less 20%. That's how your baskets of rights stay within the SDR. The SDR is no secret. It's not like a super smart thing. It's just a way for you to manipulate your currencies. Okay?
Okay. If global currency reset happens, currency value based on the ground resources, what I've heard, according to 160 countries would agree during Paris climate
agreement. I'm familiar.
Several years ago.
I disagree with the Paris Climate Agreement strategy, and the only reason why is because you got to think of it like this. Are you going to put the world's wealth in the hands of someone like North Korea if they're compliant with the Paris Agreement? No, you're not going to let Kim Jong-un get his hands on enough money, enough resources to start his own nuclear factory, nor Venezuela, nor Iran, nor these other countries that are nearly wells. So I'm sorry, the Paris Agreement's out. It's not going to happen. Now, on a global standpoint to control and what do you call that? I'm sorry, the word escapes me. It's pollution and stuff like that. I get it. But as far as to claim the Paris Agreement for an even playing field for currency, I disagree.
Web Mogul says, we shall see what happens on January 8th.
Now, Web Mogul, don't be mad at me or mad at anybody else if they don't agree. Remember, this is Iraq, and Iraq has a really difficult time doing what they're supposed to do, okay? We're in this for the event, not the journey, okay? I mean, the journey, not the event. So if it doesn't happen on the 8th and it happens on the 16th, don't be mad. If it happens February 16th, don't be mad. Watch it. We're going to study the news. I'm surprised more people ain't calling in.
Pete says, if you think about it, it would have to be at least $1 to take place of the dollar they are using, or they would have to go around and reprice everything.
Or think about this, Pete. Would it have to be $1 or $1.50? If I got dollars, right? Think about it. Why would I trade my money in for $1 if I got dollars? Mm-hmm. I trade them in for $1.50 right now.
Right.
So it's got to be more than $1. Common sense tells us that. It's got to be more than $1. So they trade in $1, they get $1.50 back.
Multidimensionals ask, how soon do you see the dawn going? Why will they raise their rate?
They will raise their rate because they're going to be freed from China, and they're going to be freed from those trade agreements with China, and they'll be able to act independently. And because of their infrastructure and manufacturing, their money's way more valuable than China because it's smaller. It's a smaller GDP, and they'll be able to compete because they have a superior manufacturing, and they have gold, and they have other things that will allow them to compete on an international level. Okay. And they're ready. They're unsanctioned. Thank you for that question.
I guess they're saying what? It says, what's the Dinar Go International? All banks will accept him. Stop listening to Bruce. Okay, that's fine.
Oh, Bruce. No, y'all, I don't want to talk about other guys.
Try to filter those out.
Yeah, please, guys. Mods, get rid of all those stuff.
I mean, they don't have to. They can have a conversation with themselves.
Right. I'm sorry. I don't want to be I'm not trying to, what do you call that? When you stop. Censor those guys. I'm just saying that I don't believe the same thing that Bruce believes or 365 believes possibly, or Benny. I think they're all smart in their own ways. We all just have different philosophies.
Right. We have been, so Bobby says, we have been lied to by so many that make themselves seem like they know.
That's what I say to them. Who is that? Say that one more time, babe.
Bobby.
That's what I say to all those people that made us feel stupid in the past. Those people have made us feel stupid because we didn't know. Now that we have an opportunity and a platform to talk about it and to talk our way through it, you're not going to feel stupid anymore. And I say shit on them.
Metro wants to know, is the Dawn going to be in the first basket?
No, second. For sure, second.
K-Rob says, love y'all.
K-Rob, love you.
I know what a brick is, but last session you said a stick. What is that representing?
Okay, so this is slang terms that I've learned over the years about bricks and sticks. A brick is 25 million hard currency dinar. A stick is half that, 12.
Oh, okay.
12 and a half.
I don't ever recall you saying that, but okay.
Well, because I've only talked in bricks. Not that I have a brick. I have more like half a stick.
You don't have a stick. Yes, 5,000. Yes, 5,000 IQD. That's it. Report.
April.
Don't put family business in the streets, okay?
I love the sound effects.
See, y'all asked for him with them sound effects. So totally just blow off the guru forms altogether because they just lied as Zymus.
Okay, listen, Zymus is right. Think about it, y'all. A guru is somebody that's like all-knowing and all-seeing. If we were all-knowing and all-seeing, why wouldn't we just go buy lottery tickets?
Just the Criminal Boss says a stick is $1 million.
Oh, a stick is $1 million. See, I always heard it was 12, but that's cool. A stick is $1 million. So a lot of us are out there holding at least a stick, right? I mean, I think that's cool. Thank you.
We don't hold a stick. We hold a smidge.
We hold a twig. A twig.
A smidge.
Oh, we got another call from Washington, D.C.
Caller on the line.
To accept, press 1. To send a voicemail.
Hello, you're live on the air.
Hey, Mr. Brando, how are you?
Hey, how are you? Who am I speaking with?
This is Destiny.
Hey, Destiny, how are you doing this evening?
I'm doing well. Listen, you guys, first I want to thank you for all the wonderful information because without you guys, we don't have access to some of this stuff. And my question is, do you think that the 1st through the 15th is a hot time for the currencies to go?
Oh, Destiny, you are asking me one of those like age-old questions. I'm going to say this. Okay, you're putting me on the spot, so I'm going to answer it like this, okay? The only way I think you're in a hot time is if they seat those ministers.
So we're going to see what happens January 8th.
On January 8th. January 8th through the 15th, hot times. Because if they seat them, Katie bar the door, I'll probably report darn near every day. I'll be very interested to find out what happens.
All right, cool. Thank you, guys. I appreciate you.
What's the vibe in Washington, D.C. right now? What's going on there with the government shutdown?
Man, it's pretty sad down here. You know, it's a lot of people that are not at work right now. You know, these families, they're without income right now. You know, it's kind of solemn.
Well, Destiny, we pray for you guys, and we thank you for calling in. And you know you're my 3rd caller, so I'm going to give you a big... Now, for Miss BB, because I love the sound effects. Do you like the sound effects or no?
Me too.
I love them! Woo! They're keeping up. Thank you so much, Destiny.
Stop egging him on, Destiny.
We love you. Bye.
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 Gosh. Oh, okay. So just the currency boss says there's no basket, but the currency mentioned are viable to adjust in value because they're undervalued.
Well, absolutely. I mean, we use the term basket loosely because we don't have another. We're not economists. So I think when we talk about like them raising in value, they have to, because that's only correct because they need to be on like this. They're competing because they're slave labor, right? Mm-hmm. If they increase their value, they're not slave labor. They've got to compete on their merit. Most countries can't compete on their merit. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So by them having the ability,
so whatever their resource is, right? When you say merit, like Zimbabwe is gold,
diamond, gas. So like they're saying, well, we're undervalued because they didn't utilize their resource. Mm-hmm. Someone stole it. Now they're saying, well, we want to compete. We want to be on the economic stage. So if they do that, they can compete on these levels because they have these assets.
So let me ask you,
Uh-huh.
now that Zimbabwe is in bed with China, they're the biggest holder of gold, right? Like gold resources, kind of?
I would say one of, yeah.
Because I would think that
between them and China. Now, remember, gold and silver are not the answers to counteract what do you call that? I forgot the term they call it. Inflation, right? So just because you got gold or you're on a gold standard or a diamond standard or a petrodollar standard doesn't make you perfect.
Right, I get that because I mean you can look at Zimbabwe, right?
Right.
And they should be better than what they are. They're not because you got gold, you got diamonds, but your currency's not worth a darn, right? And don't you feel like that's because they run their government poorly?
They run their government crappily. Yes, you're absolutely right. So think about it. If I'm going to sell off my commodity for profit, it doesn't mean that my commodity there could become the backbone of my economy if I've sold it. So yeah, you're right. These guys aren't smart. They were stupid, but they had to fix their economy to suit the people. The difference between a country and a company is a company goes bankrupt, it lays off 5,000 people. A country goes bankrupt, they lay off 50 million people.
Yeah.
Totally different.
So with that being said, and correct me if I'm wrong, this is why it's going to take longer for Zimbabwe to have value because they have to structure their government entirely.
Well, they have no infrastructure.
Right.
Exactly. They have no infrastructure. So like Iraq, this is where people criticize Iraq. Iraq won't do it. Iraq won't get their shit together. They're blah, blah, blah. They've only been practicing democracy for 15 years. And it's not a true democracy in which they practice. They're trying, but it's not true democracy. Zimbabwe is not a democracy at all. It's really you got money, you can go, or a coup. You know what I mean? So
it could be greater than 2 years for them.
It could be 10 years.
Yeah.
But think about this: if you hold $1 trillion note and it revalued for a penny in 10 years,
I'll take it.
So, and I'm not endorsing Zimbabwe, but what I'm saying is, if you believe in the whole bond that's redeemable upon cash idea, that if you hold one bond and it was redeemable in 5 years for a tenth of a penny at $100 trillion, what do you have? Hey, Google, what's 1/10 of $100 trillion?
The answer is 10 trillion US dollars.
There you go. Caller on the line.
All right, one more caller here.
Chris Manning.
To accept, press 1. To send
No, let's answer it.
press 2.
This is Chris. Hey, Chris, what's up?
Hey, how you doing, Mr. Brando?
Hey, Chris, what's up, man?
Not much. Just enjoying my evening.
I hope so, brother. What's going on?
Hey, you know me about this Korean wine thing, right?
Oh, Chris, can we let it die for 219, please?
No.
I'll succeed, Chris. Chris, you're smarter than me on the Korean wine. I'll give it to you, okay? I'll bow down. I have no qualms with Korean wine with you, okay?
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Okay, you and your wife know way more than I do. I'm not going to argue that. So can we call a truce? Hold on. Can we call a truce officially on live right now? A truce?
Well, I didn't even know we were at war, but if you want
Well, you made a whole video about me that made fun of me.
Well, you did kind of say that. I was ignorant.
Oh, I didn't mean it like that. Don't be like that. You're not ignorant. You know more than me. I'm ignorant to the fact of the Korean won. I'll admit that, okay? I'll admit that live. Right now, y'all, you hear me? I'm on live. I don't know what he knows, okay?
Right. I appreciate that, Mr. Brando.
Okay.
I'm just, the whole reason why I called, because I was just trying to get an idea, or maybe there's something I'm missing about the Korean wine. Everyone keeps calling, or, everyone remarks that, they're doing this, they're doing that. Maybe there's something I'm missing. Now, I have heard in the past that it is undervalued. But I think the whole thing is the Koreans, they're just like China. They purposely keep their value at a certain rate so that they can keep the lower and the wages a little lower.
Well, they're suppressed by China. They're suppressed by China. That's the problem with North Korea, South Korea, Indonesia, Vietnam, all those guys. China claims them as basically territories. And because China manipulates their currency, they manipulate their currencies also. That's why we say that.
Okay, well, I was stationed over in South Korea,
Mm-hmm.
and I worked in South Korea as a defense contractor,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't agree with that policy as far as China is controlling
Okay.
South Korea.
Okay.
I know they put up a big protest, over Americans being over there,
Mm-hmm.
but to have China dictate South Korea, I think that's highly unlikely.
Well, and that's okay. We can agree to disagree. That's okay.
Yeah.
But I think that the Chinese, the South Korean currency is way undervalued at a penny. I think that because of their infrastructure and because of their e-commerce and because of their commerce, their currency should be up around $1 somewhere. That's my opinion. Well,
let me help bring everyone into perspective. I lived over there for a long time. I'm married. My wife, she's South Korean.
Mm-hmm.
We had to buy things, right?
Mm-hmm.
When my transmission broke on my car, I had to get a new transmission. So the purchasing power
Mm-hmm.
of the Korean won, I know how much it is. So
How much was it, Chris? Because we don't know. How much was it?
basically, this is how they set it up.
Mm-hmm.
They set it up to 1,000 won equals $1.
Okay.
When I go to the bank, and like one time I was going to buy a motorcycle, it cost $6,000. It cost almost $6,000. I went to the bank and I got like 6 million won. So that's 1,000. It's 1,000 won for $1.
Right.
And that video I made, if you look at it and listen to it, it tells you they've been using that system ever since back in the 70s.
Okay.
So if you look at the exchange rate when, like, let's say the last currency was the notes that I were using were issued in 82.
Okay.
So if you go back, look at the won rate, they were using 3 zeros, and at that time, Iraq was only using 1 0,
Mm-hmm.
maybe not even 1 0 in their exchange rate.
Mm-hmm.
So I think there's a lot of confusion when people look at the won, they look at the exchange rate, then they look at the dinar,
Mm-hmm.
then they say, oh man, they got the same exchange rates. Yeah, but just like Iraq, they can use bills, and bills can represent a certain fraction of an amount. Korea did the same thing. So I think that's where we were bumping heads at.
I agree. And if I could have it my way, I would like to stop bumping those heads. And I would like to say, you know what? I will put out a formal apology right now because it's not worth it.
Well, no, it's just a thing that I think a lot of people, like I said, this whole thing about the Korean won has been misrepresented. And a lot of people, when the dinar, makes a change, they're going to be holding won.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to be like, well, why is this? Well, why isn't the won moving? Because I don't see how the two countries monetarily have anything to do with each other besides the fact that South Korea, buys oil from them.
Well, they don't, brother. And I hate to rush you, and you and I can talk privately, but I got some folks on this live chat that want to talk about Iraq. I just want to say to you that I apologize to you.
Good job you doing, Mr. Brando.
Hey, man, I want to apologize to you because you're not ignorant, okay? And I'm saying that to you personally. You're not ignorant. What you're saying is viable. And you know what? I'm going to do a special about one of these Asiatic countries, and I'll invite you on there to talk to me, and you'll school me on it, okay?
Hey, no problem. I appreciate it.
Thank you, brother. Have a good evening, okay?
Y'all have a good evening.
You too now. All right, bye-bye. Y'all, I want that to be a fact for y'all that I'm not so smart that I can't be humbled, okay? I'm not that guy. I am that guy that's going to say, I'm not a guru. A guru knows everything. I know nothing. I'm not here. I'm a steward. I'm a student. Me and Chris been battling a little bit. He put out a video that was negative about me. I'm cool with that. I mean, I agree with his points. I agree with what he said right there. I totally agree with what he said right there. But I mean, I agree with everything he says. But you know what? I'm not so smart that I can't be taught something. And that's what this is about, okay? Learning. So I appreciate you, Chris. Thank you for your call, and thank you for following anyway. You know what I'm saying? Like, thank you. For real. We're out here trying to do something. It's a movement. What else you got?
Let's see. That kind of took me off filter. Where's Vivian? Zimbabwe has a lot of rare earth minerals. China needs them to change their gas engines to run on electricity.
True.
That's what I've heard. And that's from Vivian. And shout out to Vivian. She said she gave up on a lot of the other gurus and she only really listens to us.
Well, Vivian, don't think we're gurus. Think that we're conversationalists and that you have the ability to call or type in, and it seems to be working. God bless us all, and I'm giving you a major, major shout out because I don't believe in gurus, I don't believe in bull crap, and I believe in us, and I believe in what we can do.
So Tony says, listen to this. My guess is the price of oil is what's stopping the RV, meaning the oil companies are using labor based on the dinar price in Iraq. If the Iraq RVs, the dinar, that would mean.
I get what you're saying about the oil prices, but Tony, the oil prices are still in effect from 2018 to now, which is $56 a barrel. So no, it's not stopping it, but I mean, we need for some things to happen so it can take place. I'm not disagreeing with you, but I'm just saying that we've got a few more places to go before it can totally take over and we can move forward.
Jabi says, hey, the U.S. bonds are supposed to double in value, and that never happened.
Well, of course, Jabi, because think about it like this. If I'm selling a commodity that nobody wants to buy, why would it double in value? Nobody wants U.S.-backed bonds in Iraq. They want dinar-backed bonds in Iraq that are backed by a viable currency.
MVB 3773 says, I'm sorry, but the Zim will never RV.
I disagree. And you know what? I disagree because they have way too much natural resource, way too much precious metal, way too much oil and gas for somebody, whether it be one of you Dinarians that step up and go over there and take over, or some entity somewhere to go over and get these people on track. Their money will revalue. It may not be in 10 years, but it will revalue. I guarantee you that.
So we may face the same type of weight that we have for
worse. It could be way worse. I think it could be way worse because there's so much corruption there. It was more rooted in corruption in that place than Iraq.
Because isn't the rich very rich and the poor really poor there?
I'm not trying to say anything bad, but if you look at like let's say Nigeria, and not to pick on Nigeria, there are princes and dukes and all these things, and there's the dirt poor.
Well, when you look
it's a monarchy.
Remember, totally. You and I were looking at the richest people of color list, and the majority of them were where?
Nigeria. Yeah. So, Africa. Period. Africa. Period. Yeah.
I mean, there were very few Americans on that list. Out of 10 people,
Michael Jordan, Oprah Winfrey, Tyler Perry. I mean, it wasn't like
and it wasn't even them.
No, it wasn't. It was like
Oprah Winfrey.
Yeah.
But the other
people, Michael Jordan was on that list. Jay-Z, no.
Those people were.
It might have been Oprah. Period.
It was only Oprah.
It might have been Oprah only.
In the
Tyler Perry, possibly.
Because Michael Jordan had split some of his money with his ex-wife, so that brought him down a lot. But I say all that to say, I noticed because I remember sending you the list, and I said it's so interesting how the richest people of color are mostly from Africa, but Africa still remains to have issues.
That's why she's the smartest woman on Iraqi Dinar. I love that woman.
In this room. Okay. Jabi says, in my opinion, Iraqi Dinar will be funded by oil. Jordan and Iraq are making a deal right now. Jordan wants Iraq oil. It's all about the freaking black gold, in my opinion.
Black gold is like the new or the old Bitcoin.
Explain black gold to me.
It's oil, crude, gas, sweet, black. They got it all. These guys got oil out the wazoo, more than Kuwait and more than Saudi.
So John R says, so what does everyone think that the dinar will value will be?
I don't know. I won't touch.
I wish I had a crystal ball.
I mean, You got to think at least $1.
Jobby says $3.16.
Y'all want to know my magic number?
Go. In your opinion?
$3.77. I've said it my whole life.
Okay.
Means nothing.
That's what you do.
When we're alone.
Okay. No, it's the other one. When we're alone. It's that other one. No, this one. That's what you do. This one right here.
Y'all pay no attention to Miss BB because this is what we're doing when we're alone. Game winner.
Crazy.
I love that woman.
Yeah.
Y'all, we're almost done, y'all.
We're pretty much done. They're complaining about you taking that call.
Oh, guys, I'm sorry. Hey, you know what? In 19, I wanted to mend some bridges. I don't like negative
they
energy.
Just didn't want to talk about the Korean War.
I get it. But you know what? For me, it was about mending bridges, and I wasted a little bit of your time.
You want to take the last call?
Last call of the night.
David Steven.
To accept, press 1.
Hey, David.
Yes.
Hey, David, you're live on the air. What's going on?
Hey, man, what's going on? Listen, can you guys just briefly and quickly explain the difference between what happened in Kuwait when they had the reinstatement versus what's going on in Iraq? And I'll get off the phone.
Okay, I'll do it really fast, okay? You can stay on the phone. In Kuwait, they were under no sanctions, right? So they basically, when they uncapped all those burnt oil fields and the commodity went back into the marketplace, they basically said that they weren't going to revalue their currency. But they knew that it was the same value, but was before pre-war time. So before Saddam went there and burned all the oil fields, right? So all they did was reinstate it, and it floated up to where it was. Now, they didn't have any idea that it was going to stay around $3.20 to $3.50. They had no clue. But to get those notes and those contractors off their ass, it floated up way high so they could collect all those notes so it could go back in the reserves. And they weren't any restrictions, so they could go ahead and put it back down to a level of an exotic currency that it could hold. That's it. That's all they did. That's it. And Iraq is totally different because they were under sanctions. They were under all these different scrutinies that they couldn't do the same thing. And they got to go IMF, WB, they own loans. It's a bunch of other shit. So, I mean, I feel you, but I get it. It's not the same thing.
Yeah, definitely not. Okay, peace. Thank you, man.
Hey, man, keep tuning in. Like, subscribe, hit the bell, okay? Amen.
Alice said those noises are annoying.
Alice, you don't know.
Okay. And let me see. I have to wait when he does that. Peach said, "Can you guys discuss what Pete said?" Pete, who's Pete? Pete said someone in Iraq advertising in groceries banks to turn in their dollars for dinar. So I guess somebody said that they're advertising to turn in your U.S. currency for dinar in Iraq. Can you just?
Is that Peaches?
Yes, Peaches.
Peaches, could you please provide some type of documentation or a link to that so I can see it? And I'll be glad to address it.
And then she also says, what about this 21 million in loans Iraq is getting? Why reinstate?
They have to reinstate because they can't compete. And if they can't sell their oil at what they need to meet their budget, if they had a viable income, they could at least meet the deficit. So they have to be able to compete. Their currency is suppressed. It's not artificially suppressed. It was suppressed earlier by a different regime, and now it's been held there because they're trying to get back to the international stage, but they're not internationally recognized.
And Peaches says she doesn't have any proof. She said someone else said it in a forum.
Oh, well, Peaches, I mean, I'm not blaming you or saying nothing bad against you. Please don't take it that way, okay? But what I'm saying is if you have access to that form, can screenshot it to me and email it to me, I'll be glad to address it, and I'll deal with it next video.
Oh, it was Pete. Somebody was in the chat. Okay, I got it. Pete heard from someone living. Okay.
Pete, okay.
Yeah. Sorry, I was trying to understand because I'm not.
It's all love. It's all love. It's all love.
An aloha from Hawaii. That's Robert.
Thanks, Robert. Aloha. Y'all, we should be about done.
We are. I mean, I'm at the end of it, really.
Y'all, we have done some things that no one's ever done in pioneering this investment. First thing I want everybody on the chat to do is make sure that you like, subscribe, and share. Share is the main thing. We need to get our awareness out, and we need to build our subscribership because there's so much misinformation out there. I need for you guys to tell a friend, to tweet it, to put it on your Facebook, to put it on your Instagram, what we're trying to accomplish so more people can accept this wealth balance.
Do you know the status of all the grants, loans, other countries committed to Iraq during the conference a little while back?
No, I don't know all of them. I know a majority of them to the tune of 30 billion, but I don't know all the terms and conditions. No, I don't. But I know this. One big term and condition of it was this, and this you can quote me on. They must have a transparent and internationally recognized currency with free capital flow. Meaning I put $1 in, I can get $1 out. I know that.
Okay.
Is that it?
That's
hey, to the livest audience in the world, thank you. 225 of my closest friends and Mrs. BB's closest friends tuned in. Please, we're trying to build the subscription up. We're trying to build awareness up. There's a lot of bullshit guru trash out there. You can take your pick, name them yourselves. I'm not going to do it. But after this video stops, the comment section opens. Go in the comment section and say you shared the video for me. I'm asking a favor. For 2019, I want to build our subscribership up to 1 million. I want to, because there's only 3 million denarian holders in the United States.
Well, hopefully we'll be RIing very soon.
In 3 weeks, but in 3 weeks, I want them to know what we can do, okay? Okay? That's all I ask. Build it up, share it, dispel bullshit, and keep it all in the family. I love you guys. I thank you for the first live call with phone calls. Never done before, ever. I'm unlike anybody else. She's unlike anybody else. We're not afraid to field questions. We're not afraid to say we don't know. And to all of you for 2019, I'm going to say it one more time. Do you want to say it first?
What do you want to say?
Turn down your radios. I am Mr. Brando.
Thank God. And I am April Beebe. Thank you for joining us this evening. And we are going to have a prosperous 2019.
And hey, on Friday, if we don't have a lot of news, what we'll do is we'll come back, we'll open up the phone line, and we'll open up the chat, and we'll have a lot of fun. And I hope to see you guys all there next time, okay? Peace out.